What's happening? Nick.
Nothing. What's going on, Phil? I want to do my impersonation of you real quick. Ready?
Go ahead. It's me.
That's you last week. All last week. That's you.
Oh, that was bad.
Did you
Yeah,
did you pay your AOL bill?
I did. I put a new antenna on a roof and I opened a window.
I would have just found another one of those discs with another 1,200 free hours of internet on it.
It's unbelievable. I don't think they're having a problem this week though.
I know the topic is how bowling's changed, but how the internet has changed from the good old days when
I
you
know
had to
it.
get a little disc to go on the internet, a CD disc that you put in your computer
Exactly.
to get hours of AOL internet. It's insanity. Are you
It
muted?
is.
Why are
I
you
did. I
muted?
muted because I had to lower the phone. I didn't want you to be annoyed by the sound.
I think if
Ringer.
we just get through this show without you freezing. By the way, episode 69 today. Nice.
You're an idiot.
Can I get a nice from the chat?
You're gonna get it.
Goodness.
So we got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on right now, isn't
Tour
there?
trials are going on right now. People are bowling 5,000 games for 12 spots.
Yep. There's the one dude, Pete.
You know, I wish we could show his name on the screen.
Yeah, there's not enough. We don't have enough space on the screen to show.
28 letters
Man,
in his name.
Back in the day, if you had to get that embroidered, that would have cost you a fortune. That'd have been like a car payment to get that done on your shirt.
You have to go to the bank and get a loan. So how much of that do you put on your shirt?
I don't really know. I'm not sure.
I think, like you said, his nickname is Pete. It's Pete on his back.
Pete, for short.
I couldn't even pronounce his name. I looked at it last night, and we were talking about it at League. And so they got a bowl. It's
we're talking about tour trials, everybody.
Tour trials, 48 games,
4 different days, 4 different centers, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's 4 different centers, 4 different days, 4 different lengths. It's pretty cool if you think about it. If you're trying out for the tour, I'm going to put you on 4 different distances. Now, I don't know much about the ratios. I didn't get into anything other than the distance. I didn't get into the ratios, the all patterns, front and backs, and so on. But 35, 41, 44, and 47.
Okay, feet. Yeah. And different, I'm guessing different Bolero centers, around the Chicagoland area.
I don't know if the surfaces are much different. They probably worn differently, but I'm not sure
I'm sure there's nuances like any other center,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going on this week, tour trials. I remember bowling tour trials when they first started in 2002, 3. I think it was 2003 was the first year that they wanted to go exempt. So I had it in my mind. I was like, you know what? I can do that. I can try that. I'm fresh out of juniors.
At what point during the tournament did you realize this is way too many games and I just
it wasn't about the games. My hand held up fine because I had bowled long format stuff. I had bowled like Team USA trials and stuff like that, and I finished like 16th, 17th, or somewhere in there.
Yeah,
and that was surprising. But it's a different whole animal out there on tour. I'm bowling against the elite of the elite.
Right.
I think that year Bill O'Neill made exemption there, so that's how far we're going back. Bill O'Neill had a bowl for a spot too, so I'm pretty sure Dino was in that group, maybe Tom Doherty, but there was a lot of good players, and I wasn't one of them.
I wasn't one of them. I think there's 42 exempt, and they get 12 more, something like that. I don't even remember the rules, all of them. But these guys are bowling for 12 spots,
right?
Which is a good deal if you make it. I mean, you get to bowl the whole year for free.
Sure. Yeah. Is there still? I don't really know what's going on next year for the tour, and I don't know if they do either. But is there still going to be PTQs every week?
Yeah. For they said how many spots? 6 a week
for PTQ.
Yeah. So I think
unless they want to give a commissioner exemption to someone that
something like that. 42 and 12 is 54. Maybe it's 10. A week. So you could travel around if you want to try to make it out of a rabbit. We don't call them rabbits anymore. The rabbits got offended by that, by the way.
Did they? Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. They did. It was the Cleveland Indians.
The
And
Rabbit Coalition of America,
the Rabbit Coalition of,
the
right.
RCOA. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the RCOA.
No. They boycotted
they got
because
the
they can't have it called a rabbit anymore.
Yeah, they got the numbers on us.
People were identifying as rabbits. That's what happened.
Was that like the furry convention or what?
Yeah, it was something like that. Anyway, so we got about 6 guys or 7 guys in the top 12 so far.
That's right. It's looking good so far.
Yeah, after 15 or 16 games.
Still got a ways to go, but it's looking good so far.
Oh my God, I mean, they got 2.5 more days.
Yeah.
And John Fury, our boy, is in the hunt.
John Fury out of New Jersey.
He's on fire right now. He's bowling good.
Yep. Someone asked me, I've been getting a lot of questions about Sarge Easter grip, and since I fit one person up in the last 15 years, so now everybody thinks I'm the pro shop guru, fitting guru. So someone in Jersey is like, hey, I want to get fit for the grip. Who should I go see? And I was like, John Fury.
Go see John.
See John.
Yeah, he's the guy.
He probably knows well about that grip. He's probably tried it. I don't know if he has or not, but I'm sure he's drilled one at least for someone.
Probably not. John is really good. He's a good guy and he cares.
He does.
I wish him all. So I'm watching him bowl last night, on the bowl TV, and he's bowling good. He shoots a 236 triplicate to close out the block.
Nice. That's good.
So
good finish.
I texted him last night. I said, John, great bowling. Proud of you. Nice job. 236 triplicate, strong finish.
And he responded back, who's this?
So he responds back, says, thanks for watching. Appreciate the support. I said, and by the way, nice finish in the 10th last game. No, we were talking about the 5th, the game before the last game. I said, I was a little concerned about urethane. I saw you leave a couple of flat 10s and then a 4-pin off the move. And he says, yeah, I was thinking about switching. So we had a pretty good conversation because I want to let him know I do pay attention. Mm-hmm. And I can still read ball motion. So he says, yeah. And all I did was tilted a little bit more off my head, and he struck out to shoot 230. So the last game, he shoots 236, and his 10th frame was runaway Brooklyn, 5 through the face.
Trouble.
So I wrote back. That was his last shot, right? And I wrote back and said, nice 236 triplicate and an impressive 10th frame, runaway Brooklyn, and 5 through the face. Nice. And he says, nothing like beating me down after building me up. I said, just want to keep it real.
It's all checks and balances.
Yeah. And I said, by telling you that, I wanted you to make sure you knew I was watching.
And speaking of checks and balances, we can't get through much more of the show.
Oh, yeah.
We got to keep it. We got to keep this show tight there, Phil.
Why? You in a hurry?
No, we just, we just got to keep the show moving. So tell them about the Woo Box. Yeah. Well,
who's complaining already?
Not complaining. No, not complaining. It's just we got the critics. We got the time going on. We got a time crunch. People got somewhere to be. People want grip sacks. I'm telling you. So Woo Box link is up. I got it up there.
What happens with the Woo Box? Put your name in it.
Yeah.
If you're on staff, don't put your name in it.
Yeah. If you're on staff, just exit out of that. If you clicked on it.
Yeah, get out. So you put your name in the Woo Box. At the end of the show, Nick will pick a winner and spin the wheel. If you're still in the show, you let us know by saying I'm still in the show. And if you don't like the gift you get on your first spin,
you should be ashamed of yourself.
Triple ball roller, pair of shoes.
It's been back-to-back weeks, triple ball rollers.
That's right, triple ball roller. You can say no, and then we'll give you another spin.
Yep.
If you get a grip sack on the first spin and you go for it again and get another grip sack, we will give you a third spin because the grip sack is the cult classic right now. Let's do a practice spin.
Let's do it. We did a few just to make sure it was all good before the show, and it spun fine. I think I'm going to get a triple ball roller. Let's go.
I'm taking grip sack this time.
One of these times I'm going to rip my earpieces out on accident. It's going to catch on one of the tines. Oh, new ball. All right.
We've been giving away some good stuff. It's prime. We had triple ball roller, new ball, 3-ball arsenal. I'm going broke. I'm going broke at this thing.
Broke. We're not going to make it to episode 70 if we give away anything nicer than a grip sack today. Let me tell you. The sponsors will not pay for our next episode.
So today we're going to talk about how bowling has changed over the years a little bit.
Yeah.
See if people are interested in that.
People are definitely interested in the snack attack. We're getting McPhilly comments. We're getting snack attack comments. I don't know why. It's just an influx on the show. I'm not sure
I
why.
don't know what you did. Maybe you put something up again somewhere.
I didn't do nothing.
Yeah,
I swear, I didn't do nothing.
All right. And
Nothing
then
that you know about.
Yeah, exactly. What did you do? You put it up on somewhere, didn't you?
I didn't put it anywhere.
So we talked a little bit about the tour trials. It's pretty cool. And I don't remember all the rules. I think it was 10 rabbits a week or PTQs and 54 exempt, counting the 12 out of the tour trials. Another thing is we've been in search for a replacement for Throwbot.
Oh, for testing and all that stuff. Yeah.
Testing and all of that. So Nick has been going out doing research the last week or so.
I looked into all the best scientific methods out there to test bowling balls.
Yeah.
And, getting it right is just the important thing, I think. And just,
but also with the economy the way it is, we got to start to look at things that are a little more efficient.
Yeah. So there is a balance there with budget and just getting the data set right, so, but we found a solution. We found the way that we're going to test bowling balls from now on. And,
you took some photos, right, of where you were looking at stuff?
Right. Yeah. I demoed it at the facility, at the training facility that we were at. And we definitely got, we got it right. I think we're going to really do some great things in the bowling field of science. And we're going to make some new discoveries here.
And all of this is coming from our fans making comments about Throwbot, how they want to see more of a variety in releases,
more tilt, more whatever.
So now we're gonna do it. We're taking everything out of play, and also people say, "Wait, no, I want lower rev players or lower ball." Now we got it. I mean, this is it.
That's all we got.
That's all we got, and that's cheap. You're gonna have to do a little more work.
Yeah. Maybe it might not be the most accurate, but yeah, throw dragon. There you go.
There you go.
The benefit is that the throw dragon will be just as good as accurate as Throwbot, as accuracy wise. You get it set up and you know exactly what board. I mean, I think it's going to be great for radical in general, and bowling I think is just going to benefit the most from. What
they don't realize is we're going to start appealing to a younger generation, the 3 to 5 year olds.
Yeah, we're going to really go after that consumer market.
We want to go after that part of the market.
Yeah, we're going to take a page out of Pampers marketing campaigns and really go after not just the kids, but we're gonna go YouTube TV for kids, and we're gonna make all sorts of great stuff.
Exactly. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that happen in bowling.
Nice. Let's do it. Nice. Are we doing bowling news? Is that what we're doing? Or is
we just did that. We cut the news short because people wanted us to move along. They didn't want to hear about John Fury bowling 236 triplicates and how good he's bowling. And he's our boy. We did the replacement for the video for the Throwbot. So we talked about it during the week a little bit about the changes that bowling has gone through over the years. And I mean, it's really, you think about the evolution of the game and what caused it and how we got to where we are today. And I hear this constantly, the bowling balls today ruin bowling.
That's true. Now it's shifted a little bit away from the bowling ball. I mean, one ball in particular got it, and now it's going to be, string pins are going to ruin the game.
I'll never bowl again if they put plastic over the wood lanes that we bowl on. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, what's interesting is me being in the bowling ball side forever, I think the biggest problem was a lane machine.
I mean, and you've seen this all, and that's why this topic is going to be so important, because you've literally been
on it all.
You've bowled on it all. You've been part of the business side of it all for.
Yeah, and people don't understand that we build balls that work on the environment we're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always been the case.
Exactly. If the lanes were the way they were, and I was at the back end of lacquer. I mean, lacquer was really early, but the back end, where after a while, the lanes got a groove built in them for people throwing it in the same spot. You could actually walk into a bowling center and see a trench.
the a mark in the shellac.
Oh yeah, it was in the shellac. You know, like
I love
shellac.
that word, by the way.
Great word, shellac.
First time I ever heard it was listening to Nelson Burton Jr. on VHS.
Yeah, you know, and then understand how important it was to get away from that as fire hazard.
Yeah,
I mean that stuff was, talk about flammable. It's the fumes,
especially with everybody smoking.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, they would shut down a bowling center over a weekend and shellac the lanes. You know, they would sand them and then shellac them. But
it's a great word, man.
Shellac. It's a great word. Shellac.
It's a multi-meaning too, because like, you know, when the Yankees pitcher gets up there, he's getting shellacked tonight.
Getting shellacked, right? Exactly. But you know, and then that would wear out over, you know, a year or so. You would start to have the coating wear, and it'd be like a groove was built into the lanes. But what happens when things have changed is, you know, they start to put lacquer down, and then they put coating on it. But they would oil the lanes, and before the lane machine, you know, people did it with a towel, a spray gun, or they get a board, you know, the width of the lane, and they'd have a towel under it, and they would spread it with that. But there was no shape built into the pattern.
Yeah, Amy over at Pincrest, she has a machine that basically, you know, it oils 10 to 10 for however many feet, and then she gets out there with a squeegee to push it towards the gutters however far she wants. So, you know, it's like a 3-foot squeegee. So if she wants 21 feet on the outside, she goes at 7 times. But there's a little bit of art to it, you know. So like the machine puts it down, but she pushes the oil moves it to the outside. Yeah. So every week it could be a little different if she doesn't do the lanes herself. You know.
But you know, the lane guy in originally was a lane maintenance guy. It wasn't a guy that pressed a button on a lane machine. I mean, he would take care of the lanes. A buddy of mine's family, when I lived in New York, his family owned a bowling center, and he had the guy was a son of the owner of the center, and he had brothers, and they would walk the lanes to look for any pebbles or anything or any impediments that might have got on the lane. There was a small center. It was an 8-lane center on the island. And they would go do that. And the maintenance was done, you know, with them. And then they had a sanding machine, you know, the ones, the buffing machines.
Yeah.
And they would buff the lanes.
Oh, wow.
You know, with different.
Wow. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now they got like, they're almost like they resurface that, or like they're like planing it. Not really, but like it's just getting a nice, even sand job.
Right. But this was that they had a pad on the bottom that buffed the lanes.
Gosh.
And they would just put oil down and then buff them.
Imagine the topography if they ran topography back then on something like that. Just with all the indentions from old wood in the heads and all that.
Absolutely.
I remember like a lot of lanes growing up, and certain centers like had like epoxy filled fronts here and there or whatever to fill in like pieces of wood that have broken out.
Garden City
Bowl. That's got to be different than, you know.
We used to call Garden City Bowl File City because the heads were so bad. If you dropped change, you could lose it through the cracks.
Wow.
And they would put epoxy in there to fill it in to make it go. And a lot of places couldn't cut the lanes any further because the nails would show.
Oh,
so they couldn't sand them. They couldn't resurface them. But the lane machine came about simply because they wanted to be able to put coating down on the lanes, a protectant oil on the lane. There was no shape built into lane machines in the beginning. It was just a gutter to gutter, apply whatever amount you want as far as you wanted.
Yeah, the oil went on the wicks, right? And then it got applied to the lane, right?
And that was it. Then they started putting shape. Century came out with it was funny, you'd get an envelope and it had plastic shims in it.
Everyone's saying my internet's going bad. I haven't had a cutout yet, right?
Well, it's gone close twice. If you go, you're done, by the way.
Well, this is your show. You can talk about history of the whole show. You don't need me.
Absolutely. I don't need you.
Can I take a week off? Would that be cool, chat?
When are you? Oh, you're talking about having to come back to work. When was the last time you didn't have a week off? So Century came out with a lane machine. It had an envelope, and the envelope had little plastic pieces, maybe about that wide, that long, and they were different colors, and the colors were coded with thicknesses.
Not length, but thickness.
Thickness.
So okay.
So you might have, like they'd be that long, right? And that would be red.
Did they used to cut the wicks to like create more shape?
Well, people did that too. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. But what happened with this envelope was it came in different thicknesses, and you can put them in between the roller and the wick to create more pressure and less pressure. So you could put a shape of oil pattern on the lane, less outside and more inside. And then some places got really creative, and they would cut the wick to only oil a certain amount of boards. The width, with the length of the lane, you can cut some off so that the outside was never oiled, or you could apply a light coating on the outside, and so on. But that's what created a higher scoring environment. So in the past, it would be you showed up, it was gutter to gutter, you just bowled there, you didn't, and it was how the house played, the topography of the lane, which we didn't know about, but
it was the lane. There was no
the lane.
It was flat. It was the lane. What do you want?
Go back to the days of when they were all wood. Earl Anthony would talk about the darker boards being harder, and they wouldn't hook. So if you were playing 12 out to 8 on a pattern, and the 11 or 10 board had a dark board, you knew when you hit 12 and a ball went across out to 8, it would skid quicker past that board because the board was harder. And that's how you read the lanes.
That sounds like a perception issue.
Yeah, right. You had to avoid it.
Yeah.
So then they put a lane machine, and they start playing around with these plastic pieces you could put in there to adjust the patterns. So everybody talks about, well, the bowling balls changed the way the game is played. It did change the way the game is played, but they were created because of the change in the environment. When they started to put patterns out where they could put 3 units of oil on the outside and build it up to 25, 30 units in the middle, those days, that was a big ratio. We started creating balls that would hook more because of that. But if they never put oil on the lane, or only oil gutter to gutter and light oil, polyester balls still be in use.
Yeah, there'd never be any need for these
high-end
HK22 cohesion masterpieces that we've been creating that perform.
So I once had a discussion with Chris Chartrand from Kegel, and I said to him, because John Davis was a purist of the game. He really wanted the game to be pure, and they have a lane machine, and they have a hotline. I said, I want you to set up two hotlines, 1-800, my scores need to be higher, and 1-800, I want my scores to be lower, and tell me which phone rings more.
Let me guess.
Yeah, let me guess. So, the bowling proprietor is not going to want it, because it became a deal to score higher, and people have more fun shooting 300.
Yeah, nobody wants to go leave league and be frustrated. They want to come here and have a good time.
Yes.
Have a couple drinks, have some dinner.
Right. Enjoy themselves,
spend a little extra money, have a good night. Yeah. Why? No one wants to go to league and think. Are you kidding me?
No. So what happened is it became, how can I make the lanes higher scoring, that they even give you patterns. So that was one of the biggest changes. People wanted higher scores. So the lane guys said, okay, we'll make the scores higher. We'll clean them, and they could also make them very tough. Don't get me wrong. You can do whatever you want when you have a lane machine. Before, that was not as prevalent because the lane itself would come true. It was more the influence of the topography than it was what you put on top of it.
Yeah. And on top of like all the lane patterns, blocking them off, there's a lot of tricks that mechanics can do to increase carry. And that is raising the flat gutters up to the max.
Yep.
Those kickbacks, replacing those, or
phenolic index.
Yeah,
was a big change in bowling.
Right, anti-slip stuff or whatever it was.
Or
applying the
but phenolic
Yeah,
but phenolic had more bounce to it. and the kickboards on the sides had more bounce. So those were things that made scoring higher. So it wasn't like let's build bowling balls to make scoring higher. What we did was we built bowling balls because of what was happening on the lanes. If oil got backed off, we would not have built the monster balls we have today.
Or back in the 90s with the proactive bowling balls.
Well, go back even before that when they had the system of bowling and they said you could oil them 24 feet and do whatever you want to them. Well, that's the only reason reactive resin balls became successful. That first reactive resin ball, the Excalibur, would have failed miserably if the oil was longer because it needed the down lane friction to hook. It didn't have the texture that has of the resin balls that I have today.
But do you think they would have figured it out and added surface? Say if they struggled? I mean, because you see a few Excaliburs on the show back in the day when they first were, and they're always shiny.
Absolutely.
Like you never saw anybody with surface.
Right, because
so that was
rolled them smooth.
Right.
It smoothed them out. Like, so people that were using that ball wanted the down laid motion. And then you got it with that ball, but you had to have the friction for that.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, right.
Right.
So
I don't know. Yeah, when you had it. The ball went sideways.
I'm going to post the link one more time for the Woo Box.
Everybody look for the Woo Box. Put your name in it. If you're not a staffer, we'll pick a winner.
Yeah.
So some of the other things that changed was lane maintenance. I don't know if people remember the liner duster. Guys would, before league, would walk up and down a lane.
Yeah, right up on down the lane. Yep.
Down a lane with a liner duster. And that was all you got, I don't
even know what that thing did. I know they crank it or whatever to get like the dirt, but I think the lane machines now have
the lane, right? Exactly.
Yeah, they had a little crank that like rolled the roll now, but yeah, it's part of the lane machine now in ours.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I remember the liner duster very well.
Yeah. So you got that. Some bowling centers stripped and oiled maybe once or twice a week. It was not every day.
No.
So when you went into place on a Monday and that was the lane that the day they stripped and oiled, that lane pattern was different. Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday they might strip and oil again, and then you had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday they'd strip and oil again. So it was not the same place every single day like it is now, which is amazing because in those days we had one or two bowling balls.
I would say that that's probably during the summer not true because I'm sure there's a lot of centers out there that don't oil every day and some big conglomerates that might not oil every week.
Right. But if you're in league, you probably get oiled.
Yeah, I would think if you're bowling a league, if you're a year-round player like yourself, I would imagine your centers get oil every day.
Every day.
At least the lanes that are going to be having league. If you have a big center, 50 lanes.
I'm sure over the weekend they don't. I'm sure they may not, or they may oil them once on Saturday and whatever. But every single day they're putting a pattern down and maintaining the lanes. The other thing that's changed, and this has always been not a pet peeve, but sort of a little bit of a tweak to me, is that people would like to know what the pattern is, or else they're not going to bowl.
Yeah, if they see it in advance and they say, "Oh, nope, I'm not going to bowl that one.
I'm not going to bowl that one." So you know what? I bowled tournaments every single weekend when I was a kid. Or not a kid, I was still older, but I bowled Long Island. It was I didn't bowl when I was a kid. That's why I can't say that.
Yeah.
But I bowled every weekend, and I went to the bowling center and bowled. And if I was shut out, I took my stuff and went home. And when I got it, I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't the guy that complained. So, but here's the best part of it. Now the people want to know what the pattern is, and they want to post it. They want to know, and if it's got a name, they want to know what the name is. This is a scorpion pattern. This is a shark pattern. This is whatever the pattern.
Well, there's probably 1,000 patterns out there now.
Exactly.
Right. So everything. It's like,
what are you going to tell me that? And here's the other part. They look at these graphs and they go, "Oh, look at that. I'm going to play around second arrow because this is where." You know what they don't understand? What is that pattern put on? What is the surface that the lane oil is put on?
Yeah, it could be an old wood center that you're going to.
and you got 40 mils. Oh, that's a lot. No, it's not. It's not even enough, Or it could be a place that's got a pristine new brand surface on it, and they go, oh, it's only got 15 units. This is going to be tight, hooking, and it's not. So that's part of it. But the part where people say, I'm not going to bowl on that pattern. I don't do well on that pattern. So when I would bowl tournaments, I didn't go to a bowling center because I didn't score well there. It was. It was funny because we had two centers on Long Island, Westbury. Well, the two that I'll tell you, Westbury and Woodbury. And then we had two other centers called Sayville and Melville.
Were they cousins?
They were cousins. And here's what I would tell people. If you're left-handed, stay out of the berries and bowl in the vills.
What does that even mean?
Well, the left side and both of those two houses, Woodbury and Westbury, were terrible.
So stay out of the berries.
Stay out of the berries and bowl in the vills. So one tournament, as at Westbury, I bowled a tournament, and
the 5 board doesn't play. You can't bowl there.
Well, it just didn't work out for the lefties. Anyhow, Westbury was a tough house for the left, and I bowled a tournament there, and I shoot a miracle last game. I shoot 256 the last game. I remember the score. I won the high game pot. I was pretty excited about that. Wow. And the worst part about that was that got me into the finals.
So you had to bowl more on it.
So I had to come back the next day and bowl 8-game round robin on it,
knowing you have no chance.
I got beat up like I was 0-8. I just got run over.
You got beat up like you owed everybody money.
Yeah. So like for the other $25 I got to be in the finals, I had to spend all day Sunday there. I'd have been happy taking my high game pot and my check. But I always and Sayville and Melville I won numerous times in both of those centers. The left side was nice. But that's the way it used to be, and that's what made bowling more interesting is that you went to a center and you knew the characteristics of the center. Now I don't know if that exists anymore. If it's characteristics of centers is not as prevalent.
I don't think it's as prevalent with the advent, with everybody having synthetics more or less. I think you do look at the fact whether it has Anvil Lane or HPL. I think that's about as far as it goes now because you're pretty much covering 99% of all the centers out there with those
exactly.
Two. HPL has historically been a little more high friction than Anvil Lane.
I agree. And then people talk about action. It was funny. The other day we're sitting down and we're talking about what people call action. Okay. And
but before we get into that action, we need to talk about one more action, and that's the Woo Box link one more time.
Again? You just did it.
Nah, we got to do it more often. We want people to really enter it and get a chance to win not only a 3-ball roller, not only a grip sack, but maybe a 3-ball arsenal this week. I want to cost Phil the most amount of money possible.
I can't afford it. Got to start raising the price of the podcast. Oh wait,
we're gonna. Oh, that's right. We don't charge a dime. Dang.
Yeah.
Oh man. A bunch of freeloaders out there. That's what y'all are.
So put the Woo Box up. Put your name in the box. Around 3 o'clock it closes. 4 o'clock your time.
4 o'clock my time.
And Nick will pick a winner. Then you'll have 90 seconds to tell us if you're still watching the show.
Hope
and
you
then
are.
We will spin the wheel. And if you like your prize, you take it. If you don't like, we'll give you another spin. Grip sack once, spin again if you want. Grip sack twice, we'll give you another spin.
All right. So, we want to go into a top 5, or we want to do the grip?
Yeah, let's do top 5, and then we'll talk about action and why that's gotten where it is.
Yeah, I figured since we're talking about how bowling's changed, I went down memory lane. And I have, my fond memories of bowling Saturday morning juniors. You never bowled Saturday morning juniors because you didn't start bowling until you were in college. But
I didn't bowl until I got out of college. My senior year in college is when I started.
Dang, that's a late start. So anyway, I did the top 5 things I miss most about Saturday morning junior league. So I don't know if anybody here bowled juniors on Saturday or had a Saturday morning league, but we had one exceptional program growing up, and I think it really catapulted a lot of us in that league to want to bowl more and bowl competitively. And, it became a way to get involved in competitive bowling at a very young age. So, but it was also a lot of fun. You're a kid, I remember going to sleep on Friday nights and just being so pumped to go bowling the next morning. So number 5 of the top 5 things I miss most about Saturday morning junior leagues is the breakfast of champions, getting French fries and Adele's fresher frozen lemonade at 9:30 in the morning. That was fantastic. We had the best French fries. I don't know why. That was just the combo. That's just what we got. French fries and frozen lemonade. That's what we wanted.
You didn't dip them, did you? In the lemonade?
No. Sometimes ketchup, but mostly like the salt on them was just so good that you didn't want to mess it up with any kind of ketchup. So
gotcha.
Yeah, man. Snack bar fries. There's people that know what they're talking about in there, man. Snack bar French fries. There's something about it. I think it's because all the other stuff that they put in, that they cook in the same oil, it all gets kind of mixed into the oil a little bit. So,
right.
You got your taquitos, you got your chicken strips, you got your shrimp basket, and then your fries. Heck yeah, man. Anyway, number 4. This is going back, but the leftover smell of cigarette smoke from the night before.
Absolutely.
So every bowling center has kind of their own smell, at least back in the day. It was either, a combination of lane oil, cigarette smoke, whatever.
Right.
You don't really have that anymore because, smoking is pretty much outlawed everywhere now, but it wasn't always the case. So, those are core memories. You walk in, you're like, all right, I'm here to bowl. I smell the lane oil. I smell the remnants of, yeah, and we had there was a cigarette machine on the concourse. We always looked
at it. Absolutely,
like,
there was a cigarette machine on the concourse. Ashtrays in the back. They had ashtrays on the settee for people that when they had the telescores.
They're built in, yeah.
The ashtrays are built in.
Yeah, you can hold about 3-4 cigarettes on each side.
How many times that was my lifesaver when the approaches got a little sticky? I stick my hand in the ashtray, get some ashes, rolled in the bottom of my shoe, and go.
Gross.
Well, what you know what? What are you? That's what you did.
That's what you did.
You did. Oh, that goes my hand. I hand my hand in the ashes. Are you kidding me?
All right. But they could not smoke on Saturday morning junior leagues. The parents could not smoke, so that was the rule of the center.
No,
anyway,
the kids did, but their parents weren't allowed to smoke.
And if you were in a center that had a good arcade, after you were done bowling, you couldn't put your stuff away fast enough to get into the locker, or not get into the locker, get your stuff in the locker to get in the arcade.
Yeah, right.
Because you get like Cruising USA, you could drop like $2-3 on the claw, and all of a sudden you're out of money.
And you got no stuffed animals to speak about.
My mom wrote me a check every Saturday to give the bowling alley for, I think it was, was it $20? I couldn't remember, but it was enough for league fees, food, and games after. That was it. That was my allowance.
Wow.
So I think it was like $8.50 for league, $7.50 for league. I don't know what it was, but yeah. Never was a big pinball. I was always like that. I like the claw games and the skill games, and then the racing games. That was all.
Try to win stuff.
Got to get my money out of it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Number 2, so state tournament, California State Tournament Group every year. So our center did a charter bus trip. So California being so big, state tournament was either in Northern California or Southern California. It flip-flopped every year. But either way, it became, a whole ordeal. Like the whole center, we raised money. We went up north for the weekend. We'd charter up on Friday. We'd usually bowl Saturday morning, have a fun event Saturday afternoon, bowl Sunday morning, and hit the road. And so it was like a vacation away from parents and all that. We had a couple of chaperones, but pretty much like 40 kids, 50 kids, however many wanted to go. And we'd bowl our team, singles and doubles. It was so much fun. A lot of good memories there. And we had a great junior program. But and then the last one, number 1, was probably what started competitive bowling for me, period. And what got me into bowling the most was we had a Masters tournament every week. So our league, our junior league, there was an adult that ran a Masters tournament. And so your 3 games of league, your scores counted. It was all scratch. And then you got seeded into the top 12, whatever it was. And then you'd bowl 1 game of match play against your number seed or whatever. And then they took the top 5 and had a top 5 roll off. So you were introduced to match play at a very young age. So 10, 11 years old, I think is when I started bowling Masters. And that's where you learned a lot about competitive bowling, and bowling, against people, and instead of just bowling against score or whatever. But that's what I miss most about Saturday Morning Juniors. We had a great program. And as I got older, I got into more competitive tournaments with JAT and some other Saturday leagues that were actually in the afternoon, where we bowled Hawaii. We went to the Hawaii tournament every year.
Wow.
Yeah, so we raised money for that, flew to Hawaii and bowled the IAA tournament. It's like I think that tournament still goes on. It's a huge deal.
So the that's incredible that you did all of that when you were in junior, because I'm sure the programs today are even more elaborate.
I don't know that they are. I think the Saturday morning leagues have kind of, when I was still in the shop, they had kind of dwindled quite a bit.
Right.
And because they had a bunch of afternoon leagues that they introduced during the week to make it easier on parents, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But it was like an after school league instead of having a Saturday morning league. So it got spread out, and I think the Saturday morning league went away a little bit.
So when you did the Masters tournament, did that way you started to think about, I watched bowling on TV, this is what match play was like, and you're gonna,
well, you get nervous because
I know, I'm saying you're thinking about, this is what it would be like if I bowled in a TV match where I'm going head to head against somebody.
Yeah, because you had to bowl the format. You left lane first shot, and then they bowl two, and you bowl two, and you go through it, and you're bowling the person now. You're having to beat them, and like all these things you think about.
Right, which
is completely different than just bowling league. It's like, and it also made you focus during league because, okay, I'm not just bowling league. I'm bowling Masters too. These scores count for my top five when I get the cut. So
sure.
So at a young age, you learn defeat.
That you said your mother gave you a check and it was for
$20
bowling, probably. $20, right? So when I didn't start bowling at all. I mean, I bowled like a kid would go to the lanes with their friends and bowling up. So we had a YMCA in the neighborhood in Brooklyn. It was on Jamaica Avenue, and they had 4 lanes in the basement with the YMCA. I'll never forget the guy that ran. His name was Bert. I can't forget the guy. And he's just Bert. His name was Bert. If you imagine Bert, stocky guy, smoked a cigar, glasses, like that. He always had a cigar in his mouth. And the ball return for 1 and 2 was against the left wall, and the ball return for 3 and 4 was against the right wall. And
because they couldn't go underground, or what? They couldn't.
I have no idea. That was the way it was laid out. Right. It was and it was it had the little thing on the top, a little cup on the top that had a block of chalk in it. Right. It had a towel hanging from the back, from the side.
Yeah.
And my mother would give me $1.20.
All in change?
No, she gave me $1.20, and I would go there with the guys. If a couple of guys would go, and we'd bowl 2 games with a pair of shoes and got a Coke for $1.20.
And I looked up the inflation calculator with the $1.20 in 66 or 64, whatever year that was.
66 it was, right?
66, and we figured it to be about $11 and change. So could you get 2 games, shoes, and a drink for $11?
Probably not.
And I said probably not at a big chain center, but there's possible centers out there that have some sort of deal, bowl 2 games with shoes for whatever. Then you go get your drink. But I would venture to say there's probably maybe a couple of centers out there that do it, but the big centers. I mean, I remember coming in bowl practice at the center that I grew up in, and it was like $8 an hour during the week. Yeah. So during the summer, we take the bus down and we go bowl for an hour. And back then, like the objective of practice back then as a 12-year-old was to see how many games you could bowl in an hour. That was the objective. And my highest I ever did was 16 games in an hour. And that's just rapid fire. And I remember that Ron. I always remember the front desk guy, like the old man Ron, and he'd always be like, he was very quiet, but when I'd come up and tell him to turn off the lane or I was done, he's like, 16 games today. 14.5, good one.
We have, but at Astro Bowl, where I bowl league on Tuesdays, They have a deal on. I think it's Wednesday afternoon. $10 for the hour, and he put a sports shot out.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. You know,
did everybody show up or no?
No, people show up. You know, I go there once in a while, and I rarely bowl for an hour.
No,
you know, I mean, a couple of shots, I'm done. Tired.
Your hand hurts. Tell them about your hand, Phil.
My hand hurts. I don't know why. So Nick is gonna, when I'm going up there next week, the guru gripper is gonna try to fit me, and we'll see. Maybe we'll do some video when I'm up there. We'll see.
We already got the Sarge Sista, and now we're gonna have the Sarge Senior.
I don't think we're going Sarge. But let's talk a little bit more about the bowling of the old days and why the game has changed. So, you know, action in the old days is different than what they might call action nowadays. You know, I was at the bowling center. I was up at the Bowler Supply Trade Show. I was talking to Joey Pants, and there was something going on up the high end. They had a little tournament going on, and down the low end they had open lanes.
Tournament.
And Joey says to me, you know, look, they're bowling action. I said, what? They're bowling action. So they were bowling a pot game, and there's a difference between action and the pot game.
What's the difference? Because I don't really know.
Pot game. Okay, so you got 10 guys. You put $10 up each, and you're going to bowl.
That's pot game. Okay.
Right. Action is I walk into the house and say, Nick, I'm going to bowl you $200 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Head to head.
Oh, that's action. Okay.
That's action.
Couldn't action be the people in the back betting on the bowlers in the front?
That's betting action, yeah. But I'm saying
betting
you can bowl action. Yeah, you can bowl action. Yeah, I bowl you head to head. And we don't see a whole lot of that anymore. And you know what's amazing? People that still say now they bowl action, it's never head to head. It's best of 5, best of 7, you know, for X amount of dollars, not each game. And the beauty of the each game action when I bowled was you could start out at 100 a game, and by the end of the night, it could be 2,000 a game.
Because they're pressing and chasing, and they want to get their...
Yeah, you know, and people are saying...
Or they're trying to hustle.
Or they're trying to hustle, or the guys in the back are now betting on a player, and the money on the table goes up. You know, so that number never really, you know, you covered whatever you wanted of it, you know, so that was pretty interesting. But that would, I mean, it could range anywhere from what you started to thousands.
Yeah. We bowled pot games. We bowled pot games quite a bit in the mid 2000s, like after league and on Sunday nights and stuff like that. We had pot games and stuff.
Yeah, but you didn't have a lot of action.
It was never like action, like, hey, I'm going to bowl you 3 games, whatever. That's like internet bully stuff now. It's like, well, I'll bowl you for 100 game, 5 game minimum. You know,
stuff like that. I did that all the time. I did that a lot. I'll bowl you 500 a game, 3 game minimum.
Yeah. My favorite line back in the day was like, you know, when there was like side action or whatever, you know, on the pot games, was like, how much you want to bowl for, Nick? And I say, whatever amount that you want to bowl for, that'll make you squeeze.
Whatever makes you squeeze. Exactly. So, you know, it's interesting how things have changed, and why action, in my opinion, has died is because the scores are too high.
Yeah, I think that's what killed brackets. I think that's what killed brackets a little bit.
Yeah, but I think action, you know, people go into a house and 279 is like the score. You know, it's not.
Well, it's like a parlay. You only have to hit one pot game a night to pay for
pot game. I'm talking about action.
Pot game. Yeah.
I think action is, as the scores are just way too high. You know, because we bowl action, it started 11 o'clock at night, and you get done at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're looking to shoot 2-0.
But why would you take action against someone that you know has an advantage over you at a given center? Say you bowled at the Berries or whatever, and someone wanted to bowl you for $100 a game, and he's a righty or whatever.
So why would I bowl him? I wouldn't bowl him.
Exactly. You wouldn't do it. It's not the scoring pace, it's the center.
No, that's part of it, but I would go to centers where I knew there would be action after league, and I would go there to bowl action. You know, there were people I wanted to bowl. But, you know, if you knew you had a disadvantage, you know, you shouldn't bowl there. The same thing with tournaments. If you don't like the house, don't go.
Don't go.
But now I don't like the pattern. I don't. So I think we become more of a nitpicking. Go ahead.
I get it to a degree because I bowl better on short patterns. I throw the ball hard. I like to play out. I'm better on short patterns.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to travel 5 hours to go beat my head in on a long pattern? Say they're putting out PBA Dragon, 45, 50 feet, whatever it is.
See, that's the difference right there. You hit the nail on the head.
No.
You knew what the pattern was. When we bowled in those days, you didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, even back in the early PBA days that I bowled, like they put out pattern A, B, C, D, and E. That was it. It wasn't have a name. This is before the animal patterns, but it was essentially the same pattern.
The pattern was defined.
Pattern was defined, and it was predetermined based on the center because we bowled in a lot of wood centers back then.
Right.
And it was almost 100% going to be pattern E if it was a short center, a short pattern because it old wood. Now that's cheetah pattern. And Viper was A. That was more like the reliable pattern. And then some centers, they put out the long pattern, which was, I think, pattern B back in the day.
But you do realize that didn't exist except at the PBA level when I was bowling.
No, I totally get it. The shot was the shot. The center put out, or they'd say, "Oh, I put out more oil this time," whatever that meant.
That's all that they said. That place got more oil. But the PBA in the old days, the PBA would go to a center. You had to have a resurfacing within X amount of months before they got there. You had to have new pins put in a certain amount of time before they got there. And then Lenny Nicholson was the lane man. He would go out there and look at the lanes and determine what kind of shot he was going to put out to start the tournament.
Right. Because he changed it as he goes. Oh, I mean, that explains a lot of, when you see like bowlers in those rounds, like the round standings are like 48th, 42nd, 22nd, 17th, and then the last round they go from like 22nd to 4th.
Exactly.
Like, oh, what changed? Did they?
I didn't change anything.
I don't know.
But but those are the idiosyncrasies of the game in those days. Now everything is just, it's just so stringent. I want to know what the pattern is. I
Saying the bowlers are a little more fair weather now. Is that what it is? You're calling everybody out?
Yeah, just go there and bowl.
Everybody's soft. That's what Phil's saying. I'm going to be
I'm
the
not
Phil.
saying that, but you know what?
Let's try something new. You say what you want to say, and then I'll give the real world Phil translation.
I mean, the same thing with a bowling tournament. I'm going to go bowl a bowling tournament. What should I bring? Well, you know what? Again, the way bowling used to be, it was not what should I bring. These are my two balls. I'm going to bring both of them. Not they were talking about that. I was watching the tour trials before. And Tom Hess was talking to Craig Elliott, and Craig asked, how many balls you think these guys bought? Now, they're bowling 48 games in 4 different centers.
Yep.
Right? And Hess said some people would bring upwards of 40 balls.
Yeah, I believe it. Because back before, like when I first started with Brunswick and the World Series was in Las Vegas, I remember some Brunswick staffers had pallet shipments brought in of all their stuff from either from Brunswick when they had camps or whatever before, to get ready and tuned and all that. Fill a bunch of bowling balls and ship them in on a pallet, like not in bags, but in case boxes. Here's, ex-bowlers stuff for the week. How many of those never even got out of the box because either they forgot they were there or
that's the whole thing. I mean, when you think about it, here's a bowling tournament that's going to be held in 4 different centers. I don't think they had a practice session at each center.
I don't know.
I can look. I don't think they did. I think they had one practice session, but it's ludicrous to think about 40 balls. 40 balls that you brought. Now the other thing that's changed about the game is the scoring pace, and I'll touch on that for a second. When I started bowling tournaments and on the island, when I lived on Long Island, it was, you knew what pace the scoring pace was going to be, but it wasn't that a guy could average 260 and then you could be mathematically eliminated.
How could you know what the pace was going to be before you bowled? No,
you didn't, but the pace never turned out that way.
You're saying that no one ever ran away with it like that, not the field,
not the field, right?
Okay, that's
I mean, if you don't match up, for instance, if you don't match up now in a 10-game tournament, 4 games in, you could be out.
Well, speaking of matchup, I'm going to put the Woo Box link one last time. You literally have 4 minutes to get in this thing if you haven't gotten it already.
Hurry up. Then you'll be whining about how you missed the Woo Box that we put up 17 times.
Yeah, or come on the show like 3 days later and be like, "Hey, the link doesn't work."
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
because you're not watching it live.
That's right, exactly. I tried to get in the link, but it didn't work. Well, it's because you're watching it
When's
at
the
3 o'clock in
giveaway?
the morning. Yeah, right. So when you look at the scoring pace, if it's not how good you are talent wise, and I don't want to take that in the wrong context. It's that if you match up versus somebody that doesn't match up and both have good skills, that person that doesn't match up can be eliminated 4 games into a 10-game tournament. You physically can't catch up.
Wow. There's just no way. You have to average 270.
No, exactly right. So, and that's part of the game. That's what chases some people away from playing because they know that's not going to happen. It's the re-entry tournaments are terrible for that reason.
Well, I think it's genius because most bowlers are a little bit degenerate. So they're just gonna keep trying again. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. It's all a gamble. It's all that
or
is.
They don't think they're good enough to do it in one squad.
I mean, maybe.
You're right.
I think nowadays, though, with like the mega stuff, like or at least when I bowled that kind of stuff, it was to get in the bracket action.
Well, when I bowled the high roller when it was invented.
When it was invented, you invented the high roller now.
High roller. I did.
Oh, you're not claiming that.
I'm not claiming that. But the high roller, you put up $1,100. We put up $1,000. You bowled a 1-game match. There were no re-entries.
That was it.
Think about this concept. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a concept.
Anticlimactic, if you ask me. Like for half the field.
Yeah, but exactly. But think about this. Think about the concept here. I live in New York. I'm gonna fly all the way to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now they had side stuff that you entered the tournament early. You can get in.
I'm going to take a cab. I'm going to go to the airport. I'm going to check in my bowling balls. I'm going to get on the plane. I'm going to fly to Las Vegas. I'm going to get off the plane. I'm going to take another cab to the whatever it's called. Showboat. I was thinking the Castaways.
Showboat. Yeah, right. That's cast. I'm going to go to Showboat. I'm going to book a hotel room for 4 days.
For $14 a night because it's in the worst possible area.
It was a discount for 4 days.
I'm going to walk up the 100 lane concourse and check in.
I'm going to put up $1,000 and I'm going to bowl 1 game.
And hope I don't have my neck's not sore or that my hand's not cramping or that
at the end of 1 game, I could be done for the week. This is before the days of sweepers. There were no sweepers. They had a 2-game VIP and a 1-game VIP. And the VIP tournaments were based on how soon you entered the tournament. If you entered before a certain date, sent your money in, you got entries. Okay. That's what that was about.
How fast did that game go by for you, by the way?
Well,
if you were the first time you ever bowled, how fast did that first game go?
Okay. I was schooled in action.
Yeah.
So it didn't go that fast.
Okay. So
I was an action bowler. So it did not go that fast.
Could you tell who were the sharks and who were the fish in that group?
Absolutely.
Who were there? Who were just tourists?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, $250,000 first prize. I'm just going to take a shot at it. It's worth $1,000 and see what I do.
Good investment.
128 later, you're going home. So, but the problem was this: you could look at who the matchups were going to be. You knew that, unless this guy got lucky, and they got lucky, believe me, people got lucky in 1 matches. Don't get me wrong, but the key was to, like you said it, the key was to make sure that game didn't go by before you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
You had to keep in the moment. Okay. And how many people up to that point in their life have bowled 1 game for $1,000?
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
That first mega buck you bowled, high roller.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was the pattern?
There was no you didn't know there was no pattern, right?
No, but seriously, what did they put out though?
They didn't put anything. They didn't show you anything.
Okay, no, I know, but was the pattern similar to what a normal house shot would be, or whatever the shots were?
It was flat, basically a flat pattern.
Flatter pattern. So
flatter pattern. It might have a little bit of taper to it, but nothing right like that. Let me tell you a story about that. So that went on for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. And I made a lot of money bowling those tournaments, 4, 5, 6 years. I bowled them all over the country. There were mini ones, there were mega ones, they were all over the place. And then the year, and I don't remember the machine that was invented. There was a machine, the pattern, that's the machine they put up. They had a machine that came out, and I don't know the name of it.
Phoenix? No?
That the one that painted each board separately?
I don't know that.
It might have been the Phoenix machine.
I don't remember.
Okay,
there was a Century way back in the day.
No, it wasn't a Century. It was after the Century.
I think
might have been a Phoenix.
Phoenix comes to mind. I don't know. I'm not sure.
And they were able to put oil down on each board separately. Now, before that, there was a spray gun, a sprayer that sprayed the oil and
it will buff it out.
This one was able to paint oil on each board separately. And then they put a picture of the pattern on the wall.
Sanction machine, Lane Walker.
Might have been sanction, maybe sanction machine.
Phoenix,
but anyhow, that's the first time that they ever posted a pattern. And I walked up. I've been bowling this thing for 5, maybe 7 years. I walked up to the machine. I looked at the pattern they had put on the wall, and it looked like the mountain view out of my room off in the distance. It was like, right? It was brutal. But that they were trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do. It was successful up until then. And then what happened? They decided that we were going to make that a re-entry tournament.
Because they wanted to create more revenue. They wanted to lower the entry fee and have re-entries. Is that what they did? And have different squads and qualifiers and all that.
$400 you could re-enter.
But so you're saying the Winers won?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Because people realized that not everybody can beat anybody in a one-game tournament. They realized that. Some people won, but how far did they get? They got past the second round. Then you started to get into the Sharks. The Fish met the Sharks.
And what happens when the Fish meets the Sharks?
The Sharks usually win.
We hungry. That's what happens.
That's what happened. So that tournament went downhill because of the original nature was I'm going to put up $1,000 both for $250,000. Became I'm going to put up $1,000. I really have no chance.
I mean, it's part of my vacation. I'm going to drop that much on the blackjack table.
I agree, but I will tell you a funny story, and then we'll take some questions.
Funny
how we had about 25, 30 guys go out every year from New York.
For that?
Yeah, for the high roll, absolutely.
Wow.
It's one guy, I'll tell you his name and everything, Louis Prisco. Great guy. Lefty bowler.
Sounds like he's from Long Island.
Lefty bowler. Good guy, funny guy. We had a good time with Louis. Louis was the kind of guy that when we bowled league, he'd never moved his feet. He just waited for the shot to come to him. Eventually it would. Might not be this night, but it would be that way. So we go out to Vegas to bowl a high roller. Entry fee's $1,000. Louis lived in the shadows of Belmont Racetrack.
In the shadows?
Literally in the shadows. That's how close to Belmont Racetrack is. Okay? Now, bear in mind, we had a bunch of degenerate gamblers, too, going with us.
No.
So Louis goes there. We get in early. We're not going to bowl till Saturday. We get there Wednesday. And Louis decides he's going to go into the sports book and bet Belmont Racetrack, which he lived across the street from.
And he could have done that every day of his life.
He loses.
Except on.
He loses all of his money betting Belmont and can't bowl the tournament.
That's great. That reminds me of when I was in grade school. I got money to go because we were going to go to the pumpkin patch as a field trip.
Yeah.
So my mom gave me money for it, and I had a little envelope or whatever. But I think by the time I got to school and, it was like lunchtime or whatever, I forgot what the money was for. And I just bought a bunch of cool snacks and food. Yeah. And when I got to the pumpkin patch, I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know money.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. No pumpkin for me that year.
Those were the great days of bowling. Things have changed. But now, they're not bad. They just changed. This is what they are. So people that say they pine for the old days, a lot of people don't remember the old days as they actually were for them.
Mm-hmm.
and then this is the new. And you know what? It's just evolution.
It's all relative because you figure like the bowlers like my age, 40s or whatever. I'm looking back in like the early 2000s. You're going back further than that because that's when the heyday of your bowling was.
Exactly right.
70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yes. Exactly right. Right.
So
and
like
then
my
it was different.
I never had that. I got bowled like the very tail end of some of the Megabuck stuff in the 2000s.
Right.
But
right.
But those are all daily squad, not even daily squads. There was like 3 squads a day, 3-4 squads, and then an eliminator at night. They just everything they can do to get more money out of you for each squad.
Yeah, and when I started the high roller, there was nothing except the 2-game VIP, the 1-game VIP, and then the main event.
So what'd you do all week?
And there were no sweepers. Well, there was people at both action.
I guess, yeah. But like,
Joe Vito and I were talking last night. Yeah, it was last night. We were talking about what we used to do with the high roller. It was funny because
there's literally nothing around it. If you go off property, there's nothing around it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm the worst guy in the world when it comes to that. I like to play, but I didn't gamble until I was done with the tournament.
Okay.
I don't want to be distracted.
No, yeah. Because that can have an influence on your mental.
Sure. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do any of it. So anyhow, Joe was telling me a story last night that he went down there and he would go down to bowl action. And one day he couldn't get a match. Joe's a big action shooter. It was really good. Mm-hmm. Still is. Shot 300 last Tuesday with the
Radical conspiracy.
Radical conspiracy. Anyhow, Joe was telling me he couldn't get a match. So these 2 guys come up to him and said, "We'll bowl you, but if either one of us win, you lose. If either one of us beat you, we lose." He bowled him and beat him.
I mean, why not, right?
Right? Why not? But that's how it was.
That's a good deal for them, at least that they thought.
They thought it was, right? Oh, it's going to have to be both of us.
I mean, I'd take that action.
Yeah, well,
so I'd be like,
like they did.
No, I wouldn't lose. I'm like, well, there's 2 of us and 1 of you, so we're just gonna.
Yeah, well, you're both worse than him, and he beat you. So those were what made the game so interesting, because everybody could find some place to bowl against somebody. It was cool. But then the high roller became the sweepers, and then the sweepers had brackets. So I mean, literally, when they started with the sweepers with brackets, you had to sign up. You had to sign your name on the squad you wanted. Guys made rubber stamps
to do all.
To do, yeah, because there was no computer.
No.
So they would just all the way down.
That's super degenerate, but that's efficient too.
Yes, it is. It was efficient.
I think this show topic's going to be a 2-parter, because we talked a lot about how bowling has changed, the sport of it. The action, how the lanes are done, the technology, but we didn't really talk anything about the bowling business side of it. And
let's do that next week when I'm at Muskegon. How ironic.
That sounds like a plan. Does that sound good to everybody in the chat? If anybody likes that idea for the topic next week, just give us the nice in the chat.
Nice. No one said nice, by the way.
Yeah, they said it early on when I first asked. Okay. They'll say it
whatever. Again.
Yeah. There's going to be... I don't know that there's a ton of questions. There's going to be a lot of comments, and I can kind of like try to pick through. I don't know if there's anything you see, but I just been kind of having the conversation, not really looking at the chat too much. I've been kind of peeking in here and there, but there hasn't been a whole lot of questions, because it's been more of a walk down memory lane. But I do want to commend you this week on refilling your internet fluid. And your
I did. I had to do it. It was low.
Yeah, it was. So you got to top it off.
The check internet light came on.
The check internet light. You had to go get air in your tires, and you had to go fill up the internet fluid in your modem. Good job.
Internet fluid. Yeah, I'm just looking real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it was interesting. Like I said, I didn't get into the game as early as a lot of people had. I played baseball. Well, when you were talking about, it brought back some memories. When you're talking about like Friday night, you were excited about going bowling the next day for junior league.
Yeah.
My Friday night was taking my baseball uniform out and getting it ready for my Saturday games.
See, I did both. So when I was like, I played baseball until I was 12. There was some times the games would run into bowling. So I'd go bowl and I'd have a 10:30 game. I'd bowl my first game and then I'd have to leave and go get to the game. So I wouldn't bowl all three. I would just bowl the first one. But that's how much I love bowling. I wouldn't just skip bowling and just go to the game. I'd bowl as much as I could. And then go pitch and then go try to pitch 6 innings.
I would I would play a game on Saturday, and then I joined another. I played for the church CYO on Saturday, and then Sunday I would play in a independent league doubleheader.
Did you ever play in the California Penal League?
No. We wear sleeves at this level, Ricky.
Bowling with Diallo says, "Are you guys coming to the Memorial Tournament?"
I can't. Not this year.
I didn't have.
We got a lot going on.
Is it in Pennsylvania, right?
It's in Pennsylvania, and
October usually.
Early October. Yeah, I'm busy this year. I mean, that's a bad time for me. We did it the first year. Brian and I went out, but we do a lot of seminars across the country in October, so it's a little tough.
It's tough to get Phil up here, even when he wants to come here to Muskegon and to film Radical Rundowns and all that stuff.
Yeah. So next week we're going to be up in Muskegon. We'll talk about the business of bowling a little bit. Maybe Nick and I will do a little video. We got to do a lot of videos on the Radical Rundowns.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll fit and drill a ball. I'm not going to commit to throwing it, but we will. I'm not claw gripping it.
Come on, give it the sloth grip, the Sarge Easter sloth,
Quasimodo grip, the bell ringer grip.
You're gonna throw it, and you're gonna be like, that feels really great.
I'm not doing. If you do that, I'm not throwing it, because the last time you laid a ball, you drilled the ball for me. You drilled it in the wrong spot.
That was on purpose.
No, it wasn't.
I bowled great.
You scribed the ball in one spot and drilled it in another.
I just wanted some scratch lines. I'm thinking
that you might be the great grip guru, but you are the worst driller.
Yeah, I got confused. Left-handed. I only drill for right-handers.
I scribed it. The scribe marks were there. Thumb goes here with a big arrow. Fingers go here with big arrows.
Yeah. I lost track. I forgot where I was.
Yeah, right. So we'll fiddle around next week. Have some fun.
There's Panici was not here last week, and it was his birthday. I hope he watched last week.
So many accolades last week,
and he wasn't
even here. He wasn't even here. So, hey, you know who was on the Democratic Convention this week? I watched it for a little while.
I don't know.
The guy.
We should probably pick a winner.
Your guy, Rudy guy. No, the Rudy guy.
Rudy Rudiger.
Yeah, but not him. The guy that played him.
Oh, Sean Astin.
Yeah, he was there. They interviewed him. He was at the Democratic Convention. I watched it the other night.
Frodo. Not Frodo. Exactly Samwise. Not Frodo.
Yeah, I don't know what the other two movies was. There was 2 movies. One was he was a Marvel guy or something in one of those movies.
He's been a lot of movies, like Sean Astin. He was in Encino Man.
That's the one they were talking about. Encino Man and
We's
Rudy.
The Juice.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was Panici's classmate, we think.
Rudy Rudiger, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we figured that out. Anyway, let's we're not gonna do any questions, are we?
Nah. I think we're just gonna go right to
the hell with it.
The hell with it. No one's listening anyway. They just want us to pick a winner so they can leave.
Let's pick a winner.
I picked a winner. I was doing it while you're.
Did anybody say they were interested in us talking about the business of bowling next week?
I don't remember.
They don't care.
Nobody cares. We're gonna do what we want. They're here for the swag.
They're here for the free gift. How many people have entered?
301, and we got 335 watching currently between YouTube and Facebook. All right,
so we ready? Got a lot of people now. I'm ready. I'm gonna pick.
You're gonna pick the winner. Shammy. Shammy's the winner.
Shammy.
That's what we should do. We should spin it. No, we shouldn't spin it first. And then we pick the winner after.
Then pick the winner. This is your gift. And everybody's going, I'm out.
This is what you get now. Yeah, you see the numbers drop off as it lands on Shammy.
All right, let's do it.
Winner this week. Hopefully you're in there. You got the timer ready? You got your clock ready?
Wait. Let me do that. I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Gosh, you're never prepared. We have one job at the end of the show. One.
I have to reset. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Winner this week of the wheel spin is Mitch Chambers. Mitch Chambers, are you around?
Mitch.
And if you are, check in with us. You got 90 seconds, buddy.
Not anymore, he doesn't.
Uh-oh, you got 82 seconds, buddy. Sorry. Check in
90 seconds. Come on, Mitch.
If you're on YouTube and you got some crazy name that doesn't match.
Like witness protection program in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Yeah. Oh, he's there, and he's got a real name, Mitch Chambers. See him. We see him. He's here.
All right, Mitch. Good job. Here we go.
Is that a Lego man head? He's got something bowling Lego head. Hey, that's pretty cool.
It is.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping for a 3-ball arsenal, but at the very best, I'm hoping for a triple grip sack. I really want to see the triple grip sack one of these times. What's the odds? Anybody figure out the odds? I think this is like a 12-wheel.
I tried to figure it out. It had to do with something about the amount of inches.
18.
It's not 18-1 because it's the amount of inches.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, we're going to spin it for you, Mitch, and then you're going to let us know whether you want the gift or spin it again. Here we go. That's a big spin right there. Yeah. Man, it keeps going. I should get it battery powered one of these times. Come on, triple roller,
cool.
Triple roller.
Come on.
Triple roller again.
Triple again.
Is he gonna keep it? That's the question. The last one,
Mitch.
Last dude kept it. Are you keeping the triple roller?
Or do you want to go for a grip sack?
I mean, there's been one instance where someone gave up the triple roller to try to go for a bowling ball,
and they're in the grip sack Hall of Fame.
They are in the grip sack Hall of Fame.
Come on.
What's he gonna do, Mitch? Mitch. Keeping it. We're gonna run out of triple ball rollers. I'm telling you. Send it back. What's it gonna be, Mitch? Come on, let us know. Send me that roller, he says. All right. There we go. Triple. That's 3 weeks in a row.
Well played, Mitch. Well played.
Triple roller. It's a triple.
The triple roller.
All right. Congratulations, Mitch. I will reach out to you after the show. I'll email you at the email you provided there.
That's right.
And to get your shipping address for that roller. Thank you for tuning in.
And next week, we'll be in from the Hawaii of the Midwest, Muskegon, Michigan.
Hey, don't forget to pack your mic. We need your mic.
I will. You're going to send me a text. No, I'll make sure I do it today. I'll pack it and
just pack it up after the show. And then
I'm going to do that. I'm going to pack it up after the show. This way I have it.
Don't forget your earphones too. You need those.
I got my earphones, and I will bring my bowling shoes, just in case.
You're going to bowl. We're going to get out on the lanes. I'm going to book some time.
We'll see how I feel, but okay. Yeah.
I'll see how I feel.
I want to see how your grip works.
What's the worst that can happen? Honestly,
it doesn't work.
I already told you I'm not fitting you up unless we do video.
We could do a video and you fit me up.
And then you got to bowl with it, though. That's the thing. Like you got.
All right, we'll see. Well, I'll make it work.
People need closure.
The only day I have for that would be sometime on Wednesday, I guess, right?
Yeah, we could probably jump right in there right after they're done filming at noon.
Oh, you're talking about they're filming at
because they'll already be set up with lights and stuff because they're gonna be filming in there. So yeah. Anyway, we'll figure all this out after the show.
All right, we'll see you guys. Have a good week.
See y'all next week.
Take care.
Phil will be here in Muskegon. Great show. Talk again.
Throw the ball.